What up, everybody? It is Nathan Graham and Stevie Susie with What the Flamingo Farm is Real Estate. All right, this is a quick little podcast where we just talk about all things real estate. We're going to help new agents, experienced agents, and just answer questions and see how we can provide help. So welcome, Stevie.
Hello. Hi.
This is weird. We've been interviewing people the last few weeks, and it's just back to you and I for an episode.
I know.
So today I thought what we should cover, and Stevie and I thought, but we were chatting about it, is we want to talk about social media. We're going to start like a little mini social media series where today we're just going to talk generally about social media, and then we're going to actually dive into the different platforms. Now, why is this so awesome? Because many of you know that Stevie is a TikTok phenom in social media. Definitely has the most followers I know. So, I'll let you introduce your social media profile so people know why they should listen.
Yeah. So what Nathan's talking about specifically, I think is TikTok. So I have about 93,000 followers on TikTok. I've been trying to break that 100K for a little bit now. So working my way towards that. But between all my platforms, I definitely have over 100,000 followers, which in reality is really not anything compared to so many people out there on social media. But I always think it's super interesting that there's like 93,000 people that care enough to listen to anything that I have to say. But yeah, so basically for me, I would say about 2 years ago, maybe or really around the start of the pandemic, and that was just coincidental, I started tapping into social media as my full-time form of lead generation. So I had built my business mainly off door knocking. And I think we often have talked about in our past podcasts when we're talking about just getting started and kind of talking about what new agents should expect. When we talk about lead generation, we often have brought up cold calling and door knocking because we've said they are the old school forms, but they also are very effective. And that's why we talk about them all the time. And they're very trackable, and that's really important in your business. But I think for all the new realtors out there that are getting licensed, we all know how important social media is and how powerful it can be. So we're ready to dive into that today with this series and how you can actually use social media to get business.
Awesome. Now, just I think to help caveat this, and this is a little bit more impromptu because we had a guest that unfortunately had some tech issues, which we will be bringing back next week. But being a bit impromptu, what we're primarily going to talk about in this series is not paid advertisement. We can touch on it a little bit. Paid advertising is pretty straightforward. I think if you would agree, I hope you agree that we're going to talk about organic advertising, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with the big question. Why social media? Why is it important? Why do I even need to be on the Facebook or the TikTok?
Yeah, and great question. And I think the reason for that is because it is so powerful. I think at this point in time, many people would agree that if you are not on some form of social media for your business, you are losing out. You're falling behind. You're, for example, the old school way to have sort of a presence in real estate in terms of advertising and connecting with people and stuff, again, was those old school forms of lead gen, door knocking, cold calling. But we used to see things like newspaper advertisement and things like that. And that was really where people looked to find realtors and look at listings and all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, it is all online. People search for their realtors online. They search for listings online. They, find all information on real estate and, everything they want to know. It is all online. So if you are not online, you're doing your business a disservice.
So I agree with you 100%. And I think there's 2 points. So one question I get asked a lot is, how much should be business and how much should be personal? And let's dive into both those mindsets. So I'll let you start off whichever one you want to start there.
Yeah. And that's a great question too, because I think a lot of people are concerned about that. And I think it needs to be a really good mix of both. I think an even mix of both. If anything, I would even argue a little bit more on the personal side than the business side. I think, I always say that the biggest mistake a realtor can make on social media to really have a powerful social media page that you're going to get business from is to have your page only just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. Like I always tell people, nobody cares about that. And especially because, I mean, just sold, that doesn't really mean anything to anybody. Like nobody can get that listing anymore. Like no one's going to go view it. Like it's gone, it's sold. Right. So it's really more of like a bragging thing than anything. Yes, it shows you're busy and all that, but it's not going to get you business. So I think the way that social media can really be powerful and actually get you clients from social media is by really putting yourself out there on a personal level and making genuine connections with people. But obviously you still have to tie business into that a little bit, or else nobody's going to know you're a realtor and nobody's going to know, you want their business and all that kind of stuff. But I think that genuine connection is more important than showcasing your business.
Yeah, I agree. And I really want to go back to the first thing you said about the just listed, just sold. Obviously, we do that on our social media page. Having said that, if I want to watch commercials, I'll just go watch TV. I literally pay for streaming services, so I don't have to watch commercials. And in many ways, that's what those are. Those are just commercial ads about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. There are ways to kind of incorporate business and personality. So I just want to share, when I use social media, I'm doing it to actually showcase my personality when it comes to business and when it's outside of business. Like, how do I view the real estate market? How do I treat my clients when I'm talking about homes? Am I funny? Am I serious? Am I all businessy? Am I number? Whatever that looks like, I think you'd agree, showcase that personality.
Yeah, you said that perfectly. Showcasing your personality in business and outside of business. Absolutely.
Yeah, and a part of that personality when we talk personal. So I sometimes think about my real estate posts, not really as business posts, because of that personality side. Yeah. And the reverse side, I don't actually show my family on social media a whole lot. I will completely use my daughter as, oh, she's so cute on social media. But I'm doing that just, again, for showcasing that the softer side of kind of, I guess, my life. Like when you deal with Nathan Graham, you're not just dealing with a cold, hard numbers realtor. You're actually dealing with someone who is humanized, right?
Yeah, a family man. And that's the thing too, right? Like, it's also about relatability. Like, you have a young daughter and you have a toddler. I mean, I don't know if she's considered a toddler yet, but
toddler, yes, yeah.
Toddler, yeah. So on top of that, people knowing that about you can relate to you on that. Anyone else who might have a kid that's around the same age as yours or whatever, like the genuine connections you can make with people, like you never know, you have that in common. And then all of a sudden you guys are bringing your children to each other's kids' birthday parties and stuff. And then out of that, you can create clients for life. And that's the thing with social media, is that I always say this, you kind of get to actually really get to know somebody. And obviously, we know that on one hand, you might not know somebody at all from social media, but then you also can get to know someone from social media. Like, how many people on your social media do you have that you may have never actually met, but you know about their kids' age, about the vacation they just took, about, maybe their political beliefs, maybe there's so much stuff you can learn about somebody on social media. So it is really a good way to get to know people and make genuine connections.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that too, because yeah, you're so correct on that. You get to know people. Now, you touched on political beliefs, which is always a fun one. Yeah. Just remember to create the identity you want to have on social media. Like, I find a lot of people don't put a lot of thought on this. I almost feel like Facebook Nathan is different than real life Nathan, which is different than husband Nathan, which is different than going out with my friends Nathan. Imagine you're creating a whole new person and how that person wants to be viewed as an expression of yourself. Like, you're not putting in I'm articulating this really badly, I think, but you're not trying to put out a fake person in there. Just be careful though, that what you are putting out is a billboard that represents you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I totally get what you're trying to say. I do believe that. I believe we all have many different versions of ourselves. I think depending on who we're with or, whatever the situation is, it can bring out kind of different aspects of ourselves. I think obviously at the end of the day, the core of who we are is the same. And that's ultimately who you are as a person and, your beliefs and all that kind of stuff. But I agree. I think, at the end of the day, what you put out there on social media is what you are putting out there for the world to see and, for potential clients to see, and also for people to have opinions on and all that kind of stuff. So you do have to be careful, and there is a fine line. And I think it's really important to be genuine and authentic to who you are on social media. But I also think from a professional point of view, as a realtor who may have, clients and is using that to get business, you do still need to be always aware of the way you are presenting yourself.
For sure. And remember, generally who you are will come through one way or another. So, for example, again, in my world of social media, just my world in general, I enjoy debates. I enjoy conversation. I enjoy disagreeing with people. It's just I think disagreement is what fosters real knowledge, right? I'm not saying because a lot of times I'm right, a lot of times I'm wrong. It doesn't really matter. That can happen. Social media really isn't the platform. You have to be careful. It cannot sometimes isn't always the platform for that. And who you are, if you are the kind of person who enjoys conversation, that'll come out in your posts.
Mhm.
If you think you're the kind of person that enjoys conversation and enjoys disagreement, but you're really not, that's also going to come out in your posts.
Yeah.
It's going to post in how you engage with people. So there, again, I would just, I think what I boiled down to, and I kind of touched on it, you are a billboard in many ways, and social media is a billboard. What you wear is a part of that billboard. How you talk is a part of that billboard. This is the message we're getting out to people. Be careful what you're advertising on that billboard, and make sure your advertisement is clear and concise.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I agree with that. Like, I think at the end of the day, your authentic, genuine self will shine through if you allow it to. But you just always have to be a little bit aware as a professional, always, because again, potential clients, you never know who will see what once it goes out on the internet. So there's always that, that fine line of being cautious of that. And I think also too, one thing to be said for social media and, text and all that kind of stuff is you also don't, the way that someone can mean a message can kind of get lost in a written post, as opposed to when you actually physically hear somebody say it with the way their tone is, with the way their, sarcasm, this, that, whatever. You can't always tell that on a post. So just being careful of, messages and stuff that you're trying to convey, because you never know how other people will take things and all that kind of stuff. And I think we're talking about that a lot right now too, because the way of the world, like the world's been heavy the last few years. There's a lot of differing opinions out there on many different things right now. And again, when it comes to like when you're trying to present yourself as a professional, sometimes you just need to bite your tongue on certain things, because it could be the difference between hurting your business or, helping your business. So yeah.
And I think I want to go off that too, because yes, there are definitely a lot of things I can tell you in my business that I bite my tongue on. But if you're not going to be that person, just be prepared for the backlash, because backlash will happen. So one of the new aha moments I've recently had is you also can't have no opinion. If you're just a blank, no opinion, non-interested person, then unfortunately, that's not going to work either. And people inevitably will either like what you do or hate what you do. You're not going to please everybody in that social media world. There's a lot of times, though, things are accidentally said that have a major backlash because someone just didn't really think it through, right? And I agree, Stevie, that we are in a very polarizing world right now. We're in a world that looks at things very black and white. And keep in mind, you might be talking about a major topic in 160 characters or less, which is not always the best time to bring up major topics, right? So be cautious on that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And again, and right now, I think, again, we're focusing a little bit on specific topics. But this also goes for other things too, of just being careful, like with what you're posting in terms of, alcohol and things like that, right? Like, just, you don't need to be overly, like, again, we're all human. We all are okay to have a good time. We celebrate, we do that stuff too. We have accomplishments and achievements and all that. But, just being aware of, again, as a professional with clients and potential people seeing it, if you've got a drink in your hand in every single picture, or you're posting stories of yourself being like a drunk idiot or something like that, like, that's not appropriate either. So again, there's just got to be that fine line of like who you actually are and what you're all about, but not crossing the line to where it's going to damage your business.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. I remember the very first year I was in real estate, I posted a photo of all the beer cans we had from the night before, almost as a badge of pride. And someone clued me into that and basically said, "Are you sure that's the image of you want out there in the world when you're dealing with somebody's largest investment of their life?" And just to that point, they're absolutely correct. when you post things like a teenager, people will treat you like a teenager.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But on that note too, like, again, like, don't get me wrong. It's that fine line. It's that healthy medium, because on one hand too, there are people that can appreciate that you're the type of person that likes to have a glass of wine and enjoy, you know, whatever, like you might bond over a glass of wine or a nice dinner or, you know, whatever it is. So it's not that, oh, you're a realtor, you cannot have any type of vice or anything like that. It's just the way you portray yourself on social media. You never know who is going to see that. So just be aware.
For sure. Yeah, no, 100%. So don't be a prude where you don't think you can not post any of that. Just, again, conscious of your image.
Yeah, totally.
So one of the other crazy things I want to share too is we talk about the personal. You might be surprised. So you might be surprised what actually takes off. So on my personal page, and this is just a recommendation, find a hobby. Find something that you like to do. I've met people who like to do movie reviews. One guy went to movies every single Monday, every single week, and went on his Facebook and reviewed that movie. Showed his personality, showed what he thought. I smoke meat. That's what I do. I don't know why. I never ever had a hankling to do it. I bought a smoker a year and a half ago and I smoke meat. That created more followers than anything before. Steve, like in yours, what's your niche of fun that you do?
Yeah, you know what? I actually don't necessarily think I have a niche of fun, which makes me sound so bad. Like, it's so funny because whenever anyone asks me, like, so what do you like to do for fun? I'm like,
I work.
I'm like, I don't, like, I honestly think I'm a loser. Like, I go to bed at 8:30, so I don't know what to tell you. But for me, my niche is real estate. But I think on TikTok and stuff, I think my sub niche maybe that people kind of like and are interested in is fashion. Like, that's one thing that I think I have a lot of followers in my TikTok that don't necessarily care that much about anything I have to say about real estate, but they want to know what I wear as a professional in an industry. They want to see my outfits for being in the office and stuff like that, like how to dress. Mm-hmm. That's definitely one thing that I cater to a little bit on my social media. So yeah, I think for me that always does well.
Yeah, I like it. And I love it too, because again, that's a part of what you like. You enjoy fashion.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to go past that other than like honestly follow to get that idea and figure it out. So what have we talked about so far? We kind of talked about it being a brand, a billboard. Another great part to social media, and what we're going to dive into when we get into the individual part. It's a great database. It helps you stay top of mind. So that's another thing too. You're giving little tidbits of your life out to your clients that allows you to stay top of mind. I almost host all my events through social media. That's where all my signups come in. Engage in posts as much. There's a lot of people who just post their content and then don't engage back with anything else. Like, comment, share. It's called social media for a reason. It's not called just sit there and be creepy. Yeah.
It's so funny. So two things on that note, but also we just going back to the fact that we just spent so much time talking about like alcohol and all that. And meanwhile, I've got like a Corona fridge in my background right now, like just this whole time we're talking about that, but in my office. But but on that note too of social media, and yeah, absolutely being social and all that is so hugely important. It goes two ways. But the other thing I would say too that is really, really great about social media and like why, going back to our original question is why should you be on social media? Why is it important? Well, on top of that, I always say one of my favorite things about social media is it's such a great way to actually attract your ideal client. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because, and I always use this example, is how many realtors out there have had a situation where they maybe got a lead from either door knocking or cold calling. And when they initially went on that listing appointment or that buyer consultation or whatever, things seemed great. Like, they decide they want to work with you. You get that listing, great. You're all pumped and you think it's going to be great. And, a month into working with them, which obviously in this market, that's not really the case, but in a normal market, let's say a month into working with them, they end up being your absolute like nightmare client. Like you guys you just aren't a good fit. You know what I mean? And it happens. Like sometimes people just aren't a good match for each other, but it's hard to know that when you don't really know someone. Like you don't really know how they're going to be to work with and especially when things get tough and whatever. But with social media, the thing that I love is that a lot of the time someone has already followed you for, you know, some time or been a friend of yours on social media for some time, they already have an idea of like who you are, what you like, what you're about. And they have already made the decision in their mind when they want to work with you that they like you and they want to work with you. And so, and they already know a little bit about you. They know what you're all about. So I can say for sure that the clients that I've gotten through social media have been some of my absolute best clients that I have made like lifelong friendships with. And it's just been some of the best working experience. So that's one thing I will say is I find social media really attracts your ideal client.
Yeah, I love that too. And it's also a great way to, I don't know, this will sound bad. It's also a great way to research your clients as well. One thing I started doing, this is almost all walks of life. Before we bring somebody on here, or if I don't know them personally, I go to social media to figure out what they actually like. Are they dog people? Are they sports people? Do they have really strong opinions? Like, again, it is so easy to slip up at a listing appointment, especially in today's time, say the wrong opinion that you really don't actually have. You're just making commentary because you need to talk.
Yeah.
And you lose a listing because it's counter to their opinion. So social media is a really great spot to kind of figure out what your client will be like as well. So definitely utilize it for that.
Absolutely. And vice versa, right? Like, again, when you've had someone on social media for a while, same thing, like you're seeing their post, you're seeing what they're all about. And you just know, like, again, you know how sometimes you have those people on social media that same thing, you may have never even met them before, but there's some people out there that are just such huge supporters of you. Like, they like all of your stuff. You can guarantee that they're going to comment on it. Like, they're always there, like in your corner supporting you. And you just already know, like, there's just already a connection there. So, you know, I swear I have some people on my social media that I've never even met that are bigger supporters of accomplishments and like in my life than some of my like friends. It's crazy, but it's, you know, that's just the way it goes.
And it helps you engage back with the people. So here's just an idea what I still do from time to time on social media. I love this idea. People, okay, in a social world, it's all digital, but people share their entire lives on there. And so I used to do this. I actually do care about my clients and I care about the people I work with. And I always want to engage with those people. And I'd like to congratulate them for what they do. So say, I was use Stevie as an example. Say Stevie put on there an accomplishment of life. Maybe she won an award in real estate, and that was just a fantastic award to win. So here's an idea too, just how to connect with people. I would screenshot that, take that picture of that post, go to another website and actually make a thank you card or a card out of it. I get it printed on a card, physical card, and send it to them. Hey, saw this social media post, Stevie. I just wanted to personally say congratulations, well deserved.
Wow.
That way, you're now connecting with your client base on a very personal level. And a lot of people will just post random. A lot of people post when they have kids, when they get a new dog. Unfortunately, when a cat passed, like I can't tell you how many times when someone's passed away or someone's had a pet pass away, we will do a pop by just with flowers to say, hey, sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can say or do. We just want to connect with them. When in real estate, when you deal with a lot of people, it's hard to keep up with everybody's lives. And social media can very much be utilized to still keep personal care and connection with people. So
yeah, that's powerful. That's really powerful. For sure. I think maybe like last thing we should touch on, because this was us just kind of introducing the social media series that we're going to do. And we are going to dive into and probably go down a rabbit hole on each specific, you know, platform. But I think maybe the last thing we'll kind of touch on a little bit is sort of what each platform is best used for. And I'll say in my experience, so the three main platforms that I use are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are my three main ones that I utilize. And in my experience, Facebook is where I get my listings. Instagram is where I get my buyers. And TikTok is all of the above. It's fair game. It's investors. It's first-time home buyers. It's sellers. It's, you know, it's everything. It's there's all walks of life on TikTok. So yeah, but in my experience, that's what I get from all of them. And I'd love to dive into each topic of how, you know, that actually works.
Yeah, I love that too. That's so good because I'm just getting into TikTok, so I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm just absolutely silly on it. And I utilize Facebook and Instagram by far the most, and LinkedIn.
Yeah,
that's the part that we're really going to love to dive into, talk about. Obviously, we will talk a little bit about paid ads when it comes to Facebook and LinkedIn, and some advice on that one of how that works. But yeah, I'm excited for this little series that we're doing. So
yeah, I think let's leave it at that.
Sounds good. So follow us, please. If you want to know more as we dive in, I believe our next one's going to be TikTok. I'd love to talk about TikTok. So our next episode will be about TikTok. We might even start this as a little bit more of a mini series, so we can update it more regularly than once a week. Yeah, please follow us, like us, check out the YouTube thing.
Awesome. And always feel free to reach out afterwards if you have any questions about anything, guys. We're so happy to support.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Stevie, for this. It's a nice little quick one. We got it out of the way to set up for our series up and coming. So we will chat soon, and everybody else, have a great day.
Awesome.
All right.